Rocky.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's officially time to go over the final franchise that I will be doing for the Stallone month. After this, we'll be doing a different month. I'm going to be going over all the Rocky films. Now, just a little precursor, I have never seen any of these movies until now. I saw Creed 2 in November when it came out, I reviewed that, so it's funny to think that the 8th installment was the first one I saw. I never saw these growing up because I was never a sports fan at all, so I never got sports movies ever. My dad's not a sports guy, so I never saw these movies growing up because they always just seemed boring. Just saying. But these movies are actually quite inspirational. They're all basically the same movies. I'm not gonna say the same thing for every single movie because they all have the same drum that they're beating every single movie. They all got that same story arc. They all typically have the same vibe and feel to them, so these reviews aren't going to last that long. I don't have too much to say about them, so these are more going to be like discussion videos, because I'm assuming that you've seen these films already. So without further ado, let's just start things off with Rocky. I saw all four, so far I've seen 4 of them. I just had a big old marathon yesterday, so I'm going to speak off the top of my head about these movies 1 through 4, and then I will watch 5 through 7. Sylvester Stallone, he wrote this movie, Rocky, and, I'm sure you've heard the story. It's a very inspirational story about how Sylvester Stallone, who used to do porn, I think. He used to do porn. But he wrote this script in 1975 after watching a Muhammad Ali battle on TV and got inspiration to write this script, and he wrote in 3 days, supposedly. He kept going studio to studio. He's basically a bum, homeless. He was just trying to get his 15 minutes of fame, and he was insisting that he be the lead role in this movie, and everybody kept turning him down, saying, no, we'll give you this much money, but you cannot be the role. We want somebody big. But then finally somebody said, okay, fine, you can star in this fucking movie, alright? Just give us a script. And that's how Sylvester Stallone got his start. If he would have caved in, he would have just been some writer in Hollywood. He never would have been an action star. It's a very popular film and won Best Picture in 1976, and it has been inducted into the National Film Registry, films that are supposed to be preserved in case the world's ending. I don't know. I'm not sure what the fuck the purpose of that is, but it's preserved. This is one of the first few movies before Halloween to use the Steadicam. Steadicam was a new thing at the time. It was also the highest grossing film of 1976, and it has inspired 7 sequels, so let's go over Rocky, shall we? Alright, Rocky. Let's go over my nitpicks. Alright, my little negatives. Yes, there is some pacing issues with this film. It's not like an action film. It's just a very inspirational movie. It takes its time. It tries to feel genuine, but there could be some moments where it just feels like the pace is going down, and it is a 2-hour movie. And I must say, there's a scene in this movie that Stallone feels like a rapist. He is literally just not letting this woman go. She's socially awkward, and he's forcing her into his apartment. I guess that's how guys were back then, but it just feels awkward today. Maybe that makes the film age. And I feel like the dialogue in this movie, I like it because it feels genuine and real. It actually feels like everyday conversations that people have in Philadelphia, but it could have been polished a little bit, because it's just every single statement in this movie was a question. Because every time someone said something, it was am I right? Bull, they want to be a boxer, But other than that, there's really nothing negative to say about this movie. I enjoyed it. I was surprised. I did not go into this movie thinking I was going to like it at all, because it's just a boxing movie. I'm not a sports guy. But this movie's pretty inspirational. I liked it. This movie proves that even if you're dirt poor, there's no excuse for bad physical health. You can just use bricks. No dumbbells, use bricks. No punching bags, just use a bunch of fucking meat in a slaughterhouse. The score in this movie is very iconic by Bill Conti. I think he does the score for at least 4 of these movies. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but he's done most of these movies, but they still use his score in movies that he's not scoring. When you hear that score, if you haven't even seen Rocky, you still know where it's from. That's how iconic and unique it is. It's like the Jaws or Star Wars theme songs, they're just iconic. Get you pumped up, you just want to start working out, lifting weights. That's how good his score is. I like that the characters in this movie feel natural. The way Sylvester Stallone wrote them, they just feel natural. What they say, it doesn't feel like bullshit. It feels authentic. And the story overall, it's just a motivating story about a guy who's down on his luck. He's been boxing for 15 years, since he was 15 years old. He's just doing little things on the side to make money. He's a loan shark guy. He works for loan sharks, breaks legs to get money. But then one day he just gets lucky because Creed wants to fight somebody, but then the guy backs out, so he just wants to get some underdog, someone that will be an easy paycheck just to beat up, but finds out the hard way that Stallone, he's the Italian stallion. He ain't going down easy. He gets back up and up and up. Creed shouldn't have been so cocky. I like that this movie, unlike the rest of this franchise, it has an ending where it's whoa, you expected him to win, but it's actually a tie. It's a tie at the end. They say they tied. And that just breaks all the norms of today, where it's the protagonist has to succeed, but in this one, it's like, no, he tied. He went the distance. That's all he wanted to do. He just wanted to prove that he could stay in the ring long enough with this guy and prove that he wasn't just some bum. A lot of these characters have arcs. Adrian, she has an arc. She goes from this stupid, like, they call her retarded in this movie, makes the movie age. Can't say that today. But she's like this very socially awkward woman, and then by the end of the movie, she's totally on his side, Rocky's side, and she's right there beside him. I would like to point out that what guy tries to set his best friend up with his own sister? Like, you don't see that shit. Like, who does that? Like, hey, Rocky, you want to bang my sister? This movie has some good humor in it. There's not too much humor in it. It's mainly serious, but there's some good humor in it. He's in... After punching all that meat, the guy, Paulie, he sets him up with his robe that's too baggy, which it wasn't supposed to be too baggy behind the scenes. And because it was so baggy, they had to rewrite the script to make fun of the fact that it was too baggy. But he's got like the meat packaging company logoed on the back. We get Carl Weathers in here. He plays Creed, and if you don't know him, he's in Predator and he's Chubbs in Happy Gilmore. Now the reason why Rocky wins in this movie supposedly is because he got the southpaw advantage, meaning he fights with his left hand. I don't think he writes with his left hand because I've seen him in this movie writing, and he writes with his right hand. So, unless that was a mistake, he's not technically left-handed, he just fights left-handed. And I would like to point out one final thing, that Stallone in this movie has a Pamela Voorhees sweatshirt on. It's clear as day, like Pamela Voorhees. And this is before Friday the 13th. But overall, this was a fun, inspirational movie. It makes you want to work out, makes you want to succeed in life. That's what this movie's all about. It's an inspirational movie, it's a classic, always going to be remembered for generation to generation. So therefore, when it comes to Rocky, I recommend that you go out and buy it. Those are my thoughts on Rocky. I'm going to be doing Rocky 2, 3, and 4 next. Like I said, I watched all 4. I had a marathon. So I'm going to knock these out before the end of the month. But what's your thoughts on Rocky? Is it your favorite of the franchise? I think most people say so. It's always the original's the best. But let me know if you have a different opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video at all, you can hit this like button over here to support it. And if you want to support my channel, if you're new here and you want to subscribe, you can do so by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, I'll be you soon.